Hello, and welcome to Pub and Fig. In this video, I'm going to go over the power of telekinesis and what its extents could potentially look like. Is this power at all realistic? Of course not. But it is always fun to theorize, and that is why I'm here. That is basically what this video is going to go over. So with that, I hope you enjoy. For my personal examinations, there are 4 levels of telekinesis. There is normal, limited, macroscopic, and microscopic. Limited telekinesis is very limited in power, but it can seem kind of complicating. This is where the user has some kind of limitation on what they can use with telekinesis. The weakest here would be needing to summon a mere fraction of telekinetic power, as seen in the Harry Potter movie with the spell of Wingardium Leviosa. I'm not even going to try. However, most of this range or whatever in limited power is more of telekinesis limited to a particular element. The Avatar: The Last Airbender series is a great example of limited telekinesis because the benders are really just using telekinesis and a little bit of matter manipulation in order to move the different elements or whatever, as we see with the airbenders, earthbenders, and waterbenders. But firebending is a completely different story, not really related to telekinesis that much. Another great example would be Magneto, who basically has all the powers of telekinesis, but he's very limited and is limited to strictly metallic objects. Normal telekinesis is the most common in media, of course, and this is where the user can move anything with only their minds and their will without much limitation on what that object pertains. If there is a limitation, it's usually based on how large it is if there is a size limitation. Other than that, has none of the limitations of limited telekinesis, that being element or having to summon it, because those two are very weak in my opinion. Star Wars is of course the prime example for normal level telekinesis, because basically you have people moving stuff with their minds with hardly any limitation at all, and then there's the weird size thing, but we'll get to that later. Now, I would say that an extent of normal level telekinesis would be flight, because that's basically just lifting up yourself and that's it. Which is like, why isn't anyone showing this? Because it's that simple. If you can move other objects, hold them in the air, and move them at will, do that to yourself. Wouldn't that be awesome? That would be awesome. The final extent I would say for normal telekinesis is more in between normal and macroscopic, and that is creating invisible barriers. It is basically what it sounds, but this is accomplished by basically the user compressing air, allowing not really much to pass by. So basically like an invisible force field. But of course it would require a lot of focus and all that from the user. But other than that, that's not really a telekinetic skill. Macroscopic telekinesis is a lot like the normal level of telekinesis, except amplified. This would show moving planetary objects, such as moons and planets. However, you can say that this user would have to use a lot of focus and energy to move it, so maybe there's a limitation on that, which would be convenient, because otherwise I don't want to see a planet being ripped in half. But yeah, moving large objects. Duh. Hence the word macro. But another extent I could see for this is gravity alteration. Now, I'm not saying that you change the whole gravity on a planet. It would likely be within a small room, and it could be just saying up is down, or making gravity go on the wall. Small stuff like that and within a controlled area. Otherwise, I wouldn't say there would be any other gravity manipulation qualities. I wouldn't say that you can have it to where like you intensify or lower the levels of gravity, like on a larger scale, maybe within like a room. Maybe, but still, that would require a lot of focus and energy on the user, so very unlikely. Finally, we got microscopic telekinesis. On this level, this is probably the most powerful level, even though it has the word micro, meaning small. But I would say that if someone has this level of power, they would easily have macroscopic. And what do you think I mean by that? Well, here's why. This power requires a lot of more control and energy and stuff like that. So basically, on this level, it's the manipulation on the atomic level, to where you're moving atoms and molecules and all that. One thing I could see is changing elements or whatever, like you can change a bunch of air molecules, and this would be if you had the scale to affect things within the atoms, not just the atoms themselves, but being able to move the atoms. You can move electrons or whatever from one atom to another and changing the element from there and doing that with a whole bunch of stuff to where basically I can create something out of thin air, but that would require a lot of concentration, a lot of energy, a lot of focus, a lot of knowing what I'd be doing, which I don't because I'm not that great in chemistry. Sure, I passed the class, but it's not like I'm or anything like that. I'm not that smart on chemistry. However, on the same scale of moving electrons and stuff like that, on that level, that same power can be used to unleash the scariest ability of them all. Ability. And that is nuclear explosions. Nobody likes those. So basically how that would work is that a nuclear explosion is caused when a nuclei and an atom's center is basically ripped in half and all the energy bursts out and stuff like that. That is everyone's fear of a nuclear explosion, but now it can be caused by a single human being. Is this level of power even likely to be held by one single person? Of course not. None of these levels are. Not even limited. All that's out of the question. So what was the point of this video if none of this is even possible? It's just fun to theorize. It's fun to spark imagination. It's just fun to see someone take a usual superpower that is like used within other medias and seeing what it's like, to seeing what extents it has, seeing what other potentials it has that others don't really think about. That's what the point of this video was, to spark imagination. This video was sponsored by no one. I'm still small and pathetic. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, because I'll be posting more videos like this, even though they are all super random. But give this video a like if you really enjoyed it, and share it with your friends. And let me know in the comment section below if you like me doing these kind of looking at different superpowers and all that, and I might consider doing a series on it. But let me know down below, give this video a like, and that is all I have. So with that, sayonara.